So today in this section we will be seeing the difference between bipolar junction transistor and field effect transistor. In the earlier class you have already learned what BJTs and FETs are. So now in today's class let's see what are the difference between these two transistors. Before going into differences, we can have just a look at what are the similarities between these two transistors. Both were kinds of transistors, both were active semiconductor devices, and they were available in variety of packages based upon their operating frequency, current, voltage, and power ratings. BJTs and FETs both can be used as switches and amplifiers in electrical and electronic circuit. However, the major difference between BJT and FET is that in field effect transistor, it is only the majority charge carriers that flow. Whereas when we come into BJT, both majority and minority charge carriers flow. So in the case of FET, we already said there is only majority charge carriers that flow. That the current flow in FET may be either due to the flow of electron or due to the flow of hole, and hence FET is known as a unipolar transistor. It's a unipolar device. Whereas when we come into BJT, the current flow is due to both majority and minority charge carriers. That is, both electrons and holes are responsible for the current flow in BJT. Hence, BJT is a bipolar device. It's directly indicated in the name itself. It's bipolar junction transistor, right? So BJT is a bipolar device. That is the first difference. Then let's come into second difference. FET is a voltage control device. A FET has three terminals. It has a source terminal, gate terminal, and drain terminal. So it is the voltage that we apply to the gate that control the amount of current flowing through the device, and hence we can call FET as a voltage control device. Whereas in the bipolar junction transistor, the output current, that is the collector current, is determined by the base current. So it is a current control device. The input impedance of FET is very high and it will be in the order of mega ohms. When it comes to BJT, the input impedance is actually high. It is will be in the order of kilo ohm, but still when we compare it with FET, the input impedance of BJT is less, and it usually ranges between 1 kilohertz and 3 kilohertz. And FET is having a positive temperature coefficient, and it stops overheating of FET. By means of temperature coefficient, actually we are saying how a physical quantity changes with change in temperature. At high current level, the temperature coefficient of FET is negative. That is, as temperature increases, the current flowing through FET decreases. So it normally prevents FET from thermal breakdown. That is, there will be no overheating of FET. But when it comes to BJT, it is found that temperature coefficient is positive. That is, as temperature increases, the collector current, the output current also increases. So this leads to the thermal breakdown of BJT, and BJT is often overheated. Or we may say that the thermal stability of BJT is not so good when it is compared to FET. And yet another important difference between field effect transistor and bipolar junction transistor is in terms of noise. When we compare FET with bipolar, FET is less noisy. Hence it is more suitable in input amplifier for low level signals, and they are extensively used in high fidelity frequency modulated receiver where we will be often require a quiet reception. Whereas when it comes to bipolar junction transistor, it's more noisy compared to FET. Any noise in the input will get amplified in bipolar junction transistor. And when it comes to the fabrication, FET can be is simpler to fabricate as an IC because the size of FET is small when it compared to BJT. So when we fabricate IC, FET will take only small space in IC than that of BJT. Whereas since BJT is having a larger size than that of FET, it will occupy more space in IC, and it is difficult to fabricate BJT as an IC. And yet another difference is that FET is relatively immune to radiation. That is, when it is exposed to radiation, its properties like input impedance, gain, bandwidth are not very large, and it's relatively immune to radiation. And because of this reason, it makes an excellent signal chopper. Thus, BJT is susceptible to radiation. When we expose BJT to radiation, we know that BJT consists of three parts. It has base, emitter, and collector. So the base of the transistor decreases when BJT is exposed to radiation. And as a result, what happens is that the input impedance, gain, and bandwidth all get reduced. So we may say that BJT are really susceptible to radiation when we compare to FET. Yet another difference is that FET is having lower gain bandwidth product when compared to BJT. Uh, the gain of FET is less, and as a result of this low gain, its output impedance is also low. Whereas when we come to BJT, it's found that the gain of BJT is more, and hence the gain bandwidth product is also more, and the output impedance is also high due to this high gain. And when we are handling FET, it requires special handling during the installation process since it is susceptible to overload voltage. Whereas when we come to BJT, it does not require any specific handling installation. And BJTs, it has offset voltage, whereas FET does not have any offset voltage, and FET is relatively, when we compare, it's more expensive than that of BJT. BJT is less expensive. And if we consider the case of frequency change, when frequency changes, uh, BJT get more, performance of BJT get more affected. Whereas in the case of FET, its frequency response is really very high, and the switching time of FET is fast, whereas the switching time of BJT is medium. And FETs consume low power, and and because of this reason, FETs are applicable for low voltage application, whereas BJT consumes high power, and BJTs are applicable for low current applications because BJT uses less amount of current and FET uses less amount of voltage. So all these are difference between the BJT and FET, but often it is seen that FET is preferred over BJT, and it is because field effect transistor provide high input impedance as compared with BJT, and the gain of FET is lesser as compared with BJT. FET generate less noise. We already said it generates less noise, and its radiation effect of FET is less. The offset voltage of FET is zero at the zero drain current, and FETs are more temperature stable, and these are voltage sensitive device that are having a high input impedance, low output impedance, and the fabrication of it was simpler since it is of smaller size. It was more easy to fabricate them as IC, and FET also responds like voltage control variable resistor for tiny drain to source voltage values. And these were not, we already said they were immune to radiation, and power FETs dissipate high power as well as they can switch large current, and because of all these reasons often FETs are preferred over BJT. Even though FET has got many applications, still they got certain disadvantages like high drain resistance, moderate input impedance, and slow operation and all. In order to overcome all these disadvantages, that MOSFET were discovered. MOSFET is the abbreviation of metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor. It's an advanced form of FET. So, like FET, it is also a voltage control device, which means that by applying the rated voltage to gate pin, the MOSFET will start conducting through the drain and source pin. In general, they are used to work a switch that control voltage and current flow between the source and drain. But because of its ability to change the conductivity with the amount of voltage we apply, we can use them in amplification of electronic signals also. So the figure which shows the physical construction of MOSFET, as well as we can explain the operation of MOSFET by using this diagram. So the first diagram which shows the physical construction, there will be a block of p-type semiconductor that forms the base for MOSFET. The entire MOSFET will be fabricated on this base. So in this p-type semiconductor, there are two regions that are represented by n plus doped region. In this region are highly doped with n-type impurity. So it's actually a p-type silicon body substrate with two n regions at two end. And we will connect the source terminal and drain terminal to these n regions respectively, and after which the entire surface is coated with silicon dioxide which act as an insulation, and over it we will place a thin metallic plate that acts as a gate contact to the substrate, to which the gate terminal will be connected. The gate contact insulated from the substrate, whereas the drain and source are connected to the n-type regions. And in the second figure we have connected a DC source to our MOSFET, and the connection is such that one of the end region that is connected to the negative terminal, and it is termed as source, and the positive terminal of the DC source is connected to the drain terminal. So DC voltage source is connected and it will result in two PN junction. The one is between the drain and p-type semiconductor, and it will be negatively biased since drain is at higher voltage, whereas the second junction, that is a PN junction, that is between p-type base and n-type source. Since the p-type base is at higher potential, the PN junction at this region will be forward bias. So between source and drain there are two PN junctions. The one is forward biased and another is reverse biased, and therefore there will be no significant current flow between the drain and source. But still there will be a small amount of current flowing, and it will be due to the minority charge carriers. But virtually saying, we can say there is no continuous path of charge between source and drain. When a suitable positive voltage is applied at the gate terminal, due to attraction of positive potential of gate contact plate, the negatively charged electrons, that are the minority carriers in the base P, will get accumulated towards the contact plate, and it will form a negative charge carrier channel, and it behaves as n-type semiconductor region. The number of electrons that get accumulated in the region will depend upon the strength of positive potential that we give to the gate terminal. Higher the positive potential that we apply, or higher the voltage that we give to the gate terminal, greater will be the width of channel that is formed, which indicates greater conductance between drain and source. However, there is no direct contact between source and drain, but due to the electrostatic attraction, a conductance channel is formed between the source and drain terminal. So the channel was not present before, it formed after when we applied the particular voltage at gate. So the channel can be called induced channel. So the device, that is the MOSFET, may be sometimes also called as induced channel MOSFET. If no voltage is applied to gate, no current will flow from drain to source apart from the negligible small current, which we may call saturation current, that are due to minority charge carriers. It all depends upon the particular voltage that we apply to the gate terminal. So if the gate voltage is increased beyond a certain value, this induced channel will be formed between the drain and source, and there will be a current flow. That particular value of voltage is called threshold voltage. When the gate voltage is less than that of threshold voltage, the device will be in off mode. It will not be conducting, and as the voltage that we apply goes greater than this threshold voltage, then the device get in on mode. It starts conducting. So the MOSFET can be called sometimes as gate control switching device, because it is the gate voltage that determines whether the MOSFET is in off mode or on mode. So that's what about the operation of MOSFET. MOSFETs are particularly useful in amplifiers because their input impedance is infinity, nearly infinity, and it will allow the amplifier to capture almost all the incoming signal. The main advantage is that it requires almost no input current to control the load current when compared to the bipolar transistor. MOSFETs are actually available in two forms, like it has other two forms are depletion type and enhancement type. The transistor requires a gate source voltage to switch the device off. Then it's called the depletion mode MOSFET, and it is almost equivalent to a normally closed switch. And the enhancement type, the transistor requires a gate source voltage to switch on the device. And the enhancement mode MOSFET is equivalent to normally open switch. And in upcoming classes, you will be seeing in detail what these types of MOSFET are. So I think you'll get more clear when you get explanation in detail. So thank you for today.